Hi everyone, I'm Joanne Smith and I play the Autoharp. This is the second video in a series on showing you how to convert a standard Oscar Schmidt Autoharp from a chromatic tuning into a diatonic one. The first video covered removing the old strings and cleaning up the body. This video is going to cover putting the new strings on and also taking that old chord bar set and getting it ready for prime time. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, I've gotten the strings, the old strings, off of the Autoharp, and I've also removed that sticker that was down along the bottom. And as you can see, it's all nice and clean. And now I'm in the process of putting the new strings on. There are several places where you can order Autoharp strings. I happened to get mine from Tom Fladmark. He is a maker of Autoharps, and since I'm going to be stringing this one up in the key of G, I wanted a specialized string set for that particular key. So I ordered them from Mr. Fladmark, and they came in this nice little package, and each string is in its own little envelope. And I've already put the first string on here, the one down at the bottom. And now I'm going to do the top string over here, and I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, here's the little string. This is string number 36, so it's going to go up here on that one right here, and it comes wound together like this. It pops out like that. Be very careful. They can poke you in the eye quite painfully if you're not careful. Now this part right here is the little ball end, and what I want to do is take this little pigtail here and bend it toward the ball end so that it doesn't stick up. Now this ball end goes down here in the bridge, and you just slide it in there like that and into the little groove and pull up tight, and it's in. Now what you want to do is come up here and find the hole in the tuning pin and thread your string through the hole. There we go, like this. Now at this point you've got a lot of string here, and you don't want to wind all that string on the tuning pin. It's not necessary, and you'll end up driving that tuning pin way down too far into the top of the Autoharp. So what we want to do is cut off a portion of that, and generally what I do is I go about an inch and a half from the tuning pin out to the string, so that'd be about there, right about so. And using a pair of wire cutters, you'll snip that off. Right there like that. Right, get rid of that safely. Now, leaving the string end sticking out like this is a good way to scratch yourself when you're playing. So what I do is I take my needle nose pliers, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I grip it like this and turn the wire in on itself, and it makes a little loop, like so. Then that loop feeds back into the hole in the tuning pin. Let's see if I can get this to work here. I've also got another video on YouTube that talks about changing strings that goes into a little bit more detail and shows you some better, more close-up pictures. But anyway, there it is. It's that little loop is now sticking out the back side of the tuning pin. And so now I take my tuning wrench and making sure that that ball end of the string is still seated in there, and guiding it around this little bridge pin here. It's kind of when you first get going, because you've got about 3 things going at once, and what I do is give a little bit of a pull, a constant pressure on this string as you're winding it on, and that way when you're winding on a string, you're going to be sure that you've got about the same amount of turns on each tuning pin. Now you want to start out with all your tuning pins at about the same height, and if you always have the exact same amount of string sticking out the back side, about 1.5 inches, you're going to have about the same number of turns to put it on, and that way your tuning pins will always stay at the same height and you don't run the risk of driving the pins too deeply into the Autoharp. So what you do is you just get it on until it's, don't tune it up to pitch just yet, but get it snug, and then go all the way along and put all the rest of them on. And I go from one side to the other and walk my way in so that I don't put way too much pressure on one side of the Autoharp all at once. So that's getting the strings put on. Okay, what I've done is I've taken the chord bar completely apart, the chord bar assembly, and I have gone and cleaned off all of the old felt, and I have applied new felt to each of the chord bars. And the only thing that I would recommend when you're taking the old felt off of these is to plan on an evening of just sitting down and picking off the old felt, and then you want to remove every trace of residue off of the chord bar before you apply the new felt. The felt comes in strips, pre-cut strips, and you just walk it along very carefully to apply it to make sure that it stays right in the center of the bar. Now these particular bars are a little bit wider than the 1/4 inch, so you want to try to, there's a little bit of daylight on either side of the felt. You want to try to get it in the middle as close as you possibly can. Now these bars are just a little bit long, and you'll notice that I ran out of felt about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch before the end of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, take a blank piece of felt and cut a little piece to fit on the end of all of these bars, because the way this chord bar assembly works, the bar fits down inside the slot and it counts on some felt being there to rest on top of the springs. So it's got to be felted all the way across in order for it to work. Now I went to the hardware store, and I told you that I was going to show you a way that you can take this chord bar assembly and quiet it down. And one of the best ways to do that is with weather stripping. What I did is I went to the hardware store and I found this nice brown weather stripping. I'm going to be splitting it apart and using just 1/2 of it, but it's just about the perfect width. And you'll notice under the cap, under the top cap of the chord bar assembly, there's a little channel in here, and this is where we're going to glue this weather stripping along here, like so. Okay. Now the way this is going to fit, it's going to fit right down on top of this chord bar assembly, and I'm sure the light isn't all that great, but if you can see that this sits on top, and that's probably going to give some padding, but not enough as if I would notch this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm holding it down on here. I'm going to notch the weather stripping like so that I can make sure I notch it in the correct place. And you see I've got these nice little notches here. Now I can go in and make the cut complete. I've got some that aren't marked all that great, but it was just slit it like so. And a sharp blade is very helpful. You can do that. And then you just go through and just kind of slit it just like that. And then that little bubble there will fit right in between the slots and help to quiet down those chord bars by quite a bit. As you can see, that's going to give that chord bar a nice little cushion to hit when it comes up after you depress it, and when it comes back up it's not going to go clack, clack, clack against this hard plastic top. So that's probably one of the easiest ways to quiet things down. I hope you've enjoyed this second installment on how to convert a standard chromatic Autoharp into a diatonic one. Our next video is going to go over the final steps on getting your felts cut and ending up with a nice new diatonic Autoharp. So watch for part 3, and in the meantime, happy harping!